Alright guys, here we're to talk about the Twilight Zone, Season 3, Episode 25. What do you think about this episode?
You said you weren't going to use magic anymore.
My biggest downside on that part was, like, he's clearly, like, you know, a magic, like, you know, a being that has, like, limitless power in some ways. He slams the baseball, it goes flying away, and it doesn't just blink it back, he lets them lose their ball.
That's pretty good.
This is like the Depression, and like balls are expensive.
Right?
But no, this was...
He's just breaking toys and being like, sorry, kids.
This was a good episode.
This was heartwarming.
I thought it
was
may
fun.
have had the best special effects, like, you know, like that costume when he turned into a Martian.
Yeah.
We've not seen something like, you know, remotely decent like that ever.
Yeah.
So that was probably mind blowing at the time.
Okay.
Because that's like effects. What movie was that? It's not quite.
What's the effect?
The
of
creature from the Black Lagoon.
The transition or the costume
The
itself?
costume itself.
Oh, okay.
Because think about the alien costumes we've seen so far.
In Twilight Zone?
Yeah, they've mostly been funny.
I guess.
Like, they've not been good in any way. And not that that was an amazing one.
Yeah,
you know, we did have better
this one pretty
Universal
fun.
style monster
Yes.
you know, makeup and stuff in this time period. But I think for the show, that especially a thing you saw for a second, unless that was from another movie or something they
definitely,
produced,
100%.
that was a crazy expenditure.
No, I think overall there was a lot of good stuff in this with the stupid things and the effects and the two girls at the end and all that. People would have been like, this is crazy. What's going on here?
So the premise of this episode, you have a gentleman who is magic. He's befriended all the local kids. He seems to be a generally Santa Clausian type character.
Think of like a pedophile, and then it turns out he was actually just an alien.
Yeah.
And not a pedophile. Or both. Maybe he's both a pedophile and an alien. I don't want to harp on that angle of it, because it doesn't ruin anything for me, and I know what this was and what it's intended to be taken as and all that stuff. But they're literally like, she becomes his queen, and they fall in love and all that stuff.
Did you like his real form, though? Like,
he's just some frat boy?
You're led to believe that, you know, he's going to be something icky that we couldn't possibly see.
It's so
but really, he's like a dreamy, like, young boy.
It's absolutely dumb as fuck. I was like, that's so dumb.
Yeah.
I actually look like this high school yearbook photo of Judge Kavanaugh. Like, what are we doing here? It's ridiculous. Topical humor.
It was strange for me too, because we know he's old as fuck.
He's 1,000 years old.
And well, he's been king for 1,000 years.
Oh my God!
So he could be substantially older than that.
Their lifespan could be like 10,000 years.
It could be
or
forever.
Infinite.
He said he stands to be king for another 4,000 years. So that would be. We know he'd be at least 5,000 years old at that point, and that just means like when their terms run up or whatever happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, he may live forever. Yeah. We don't know, and I wonder if he can extend that power to her. Because it seems like he potentially could, because he does heal her. It just makes him expose himself to where his position is
over molecules or something like that. It's just so funny. Like, mostly just because I think of how this would go over today, or if anyone knew about this today or something like that. Where they'd be like, he falls in love, like, that's way off the divide your age by 2 and add 7 limit, okay? He's like way older than she is. She's like 10 or some shit.
Yes.
It's really weird.
Well,
but their love was pure.
We've seen things of this vein.
I'm absolutely fine with
time.
it, but I just cannot believe it's so crazy. Yeah,
like Angel was old as hell, and Sarah Michelle Gellar was like 16 or 15 when they met.
Yeah, that's the age of consent in certain states. That's fine. This girl is prepubescent.
That is true. Yes.
It's just a little creepy.
He fixed her leg, though.
Because he's an old, mustachioed, like, plumber-looking guy.
Yeah. We never see anything where there's any inappropriate stuff happening. Oh. Well, yes, of course not. We never see anything inappropriate happen between them, but it is addressed after the fact.
We are to assume that their love is pure and born out of this.
Yes.
And she's like an orphan and shit, so he like whatever's, and then they end up and she becomes the queen. I'm totally fine with it. It's just really funny how these things can innocuously exist in like the history of stuff, whereas this today would be like, what is this? Oh my God. No, this was a nice episode. This was heartwarming.
Yeah, I didn't dislike this episode. There was no real trouble with it.
I like the misdirect. I like the whole thing. Because in my notes, I'm like, the MIB show up. Oh no.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Because I'm instantly assuming he's an alien, and then to have the whole thing where like 2/3 of the way through, he's like, I'm actually not from this world, and she's like, what? I knew it. You cheeky bastard. And I'm like, what? What? okay, was that a secret? But the MIB show up, and I'm like, oh no, they're gonna whatever. It's gonna be a whole thing. He's gonna have to leave.
They're gonna neuralize her.
Yeah, and they kind of do. Yeah. No,
but that was interesting. How like the twist, he's actually a king. They're his subjects trying to get him to come back. He like Jesus in Dogma was going to play skee ball on Earth, and
he was on a vacay. The only problem with that is he's their king, so he's like, I order you to stop this and let me stay here. And shouldn't they be like, yes? It's fine. Again, you were bamboozled by the goodness of the episode. You didn't think of the plot hole, but it's fine. It's not a plot hole.
I don't know. I feel like things do happen like that. Reluctant kings in stories or princes usually.
Yep.
But yeah, you are the king, but you only have power over them in your kingdom, and they gotta come back, and then he can.
You would assume that there's a structure and laws and all that stuff, but they don't really get into it, so it's just kind of assumed. It's fine. I'm fine with it.
So the end is where my issue really came into place.
Sweet.
Is if they have the ability to just cripple this girl or kill her, or whatever it is, couldn't they just send that into both of them, and whichever one's not impacted at all is their king?
Oh, there's so many ways. Because he's theoretically this like immortal, omniscient being, and she's just a kid. So they could just be like, they could just take something dangerous that she wouldn't know is dangerous and be like, hey, and then the one who freaks out, they go, that's you. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Right. It would be relatively easy.
Throw a 100-pound weight at both of them, and whichever one catches
whichever one falls in half.
Yeah.
Like a pile of loose kindling. Yeah.
So that was my plot hole of the episode, where I was like, really?
No,
with this technology, crazy. You can't figure out who's who?
Where's the line? I thought I wrote down a funny line that the ant said. She said it all, well, you're just going, is that this weird way of talking or something like that?
The ant was weird.
The ant was really weird.
Her making her little dinner, and like, I always, the go to bed without supper thing. Always a weird thing, especially when I'm like, what time of day is it even? I feel like she hasn't even had lunch yet. This bitch is not giving her dinner.
We can't do day for night. It's black and white. It's the technology's not there.
The logistics. Oh, they alone will cripple us.
Okay, I liked that. Your aunt is a very nervous person, and she's not responsible for what she... Like, he's wise or something like that. I'm like, ah, nice. Good
wise enough to get that 8-year-old.
Wise enough to get it on the ground floor of that 8-year-old. 8, 10, whatever she was. Very young.
Young.
Very weird.
With her Forrest Gump thing.
Yeah, and Rod Serling's thing about like fantasy and science fiction, making the improbable possible, making the impossible real, and all that stuff. I was like, oh, that's so good.
That was a good.
And I even misquoted it, but like, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It was a nice little when Rod has a good zinger. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, the past couple of
here.
there's been a lot of phoning it in episodes,
Yeah.
so it's nice to see a couple of good ones.
A good thing, yeah.
But this episode, I'd say was solid. This is towards the higher end of Twilight Zone calibers for me. It wasn't like the
good.
shocking, horrific twist or any of that business, but it was enjoyable. It was nice. It was light.
Yeah, like of all the fun ones, this has like very little of that stuff where you're like, oh, you have to just go with it. You have to understand it's a goofy ass thing, right? It's like because remember the one where like the dudes had the big head and they're like, we'll give him strength.
Yes.
You're like, okay, guys, it's good. Or the one where like the deli or like not the deli, the bar owner, diner guy has like 3 eyes, and the other guy has like another 3 arms and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Goofy stuff. Lost like a lot of wasted potential there. That I think here they hit all the bases. He turns into the fly. The guys were invisible there. Like everything's you're like, oh, it almost felt like a Stephen King-y thing with like the kids and the wise old mystical thing and all that stuff. So
when he turned into the mouse. When they were coming into the room and then he's in her pocket or whatever. That one happened. I don't know if it happened so quick or I just didn't notice. I was like, when did he get in her hand or in her dress or whatever he was in? It was one of those moments where I was like, I assumed he just like went invisible or blinked himself out of existence because at the moment we have no reason to believe he's not going to just do things like that.
I missed that completely, so I have no idea.
Okay,
I literally thought he disappeared and then came back with different clothes on, and that's why she said like, how do you do that? And he's like, molecules, right? That part. Yeah.
Because he had shrunk down to the size of a mouse. She's like, how do you shrink even the clothing?
The clothing.
That's all just atoms.
It's all just moleculars.
All right, guys, that's our thoughts on this episode of Twilight Zone. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
Hello, internets. I just love watching JustDaggers. If you've enjoyed this video as much as I have, click that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.